In this video, we're going to talk about the best and most underutilized way to invest in real estate in 2023 and 2024 and actually make a ton of cash flow. And no, it's not short-term rentals and it's not long-term rentals. It's actually mid-term rentals, which is not really a really new thing. It's been around, but it's actually got really popularized during COVID. And we're going to dive into today what is mid-term rentals, or what are mid-term rentals, the type of clientele that mid-term rentals are great for, the types of properties that are great for midterm rentals, as well as some of the markets and where you should look in Florida for midterm rentals, along with what in the world is the difference between midterm rentals versus short-term versus long-term, and what are the benefits of it. So let's jump right into it. So first off, we have what in the world is a midterm rental. So like I said before, it is nothing new. It's actually been around, and it's been called an executive rental because it used to be for traveling executives and professionals who are going to a city or a state, going to work in a local office, or going to work on a localized project. And then it did get a lot more popularity during COVID with that of travel nursing, where they were making stupid money going to travel and making like upwards of 10, 15, sometimes even $20,000 a week to be a travel nurse. Honestly, kind of jealous. But with all that being said, it has been around. It's nothing new, so people have been using it. It's just now gained a lot more popularity due to the recent changes, not only within our economy, but also the way that we live and work as well, which kind of ties into now our clientele that we're looking at. So with midterm rentals, you have three main buckets of clientele. Obviously, number one, the tried and true, you're traveling professional. So like I said, someone who's traveling for work to a local city or a different state to go work in that local office or work on a local project, and they have to stay there for an extended period of time. Your second bucket of people is not only just your travel nurses, but you're traveling medical professionals. So a lot of people don't know this, but there's more than just traveling nurses. There's traveling doctors, there's traveling techs, pretty much anything you do in the medical profession, you can travel and do it and make a little bit more money than you were if you were just working a staff job. So that's opened up an entire different world of clientele and people within that realm, especially with the amount of hospitals that we're building everywhere and underserved and understaffed medical facilities. And then with their third bucket of clientele is the digital nomad. So with the rise of COVID, obviously remote and online work has surged. So a lot of these people, even before that, who kind of are just all working online, they're not really physically tied down to one location over the other. So if they either own a house, they rent it out, or if they don't own, they rent. They can pick up and go wherever. So they can spend a month here in Miami, then go spend a month in Nashville, then they can go spend a month in LA, then they can go up to Seattle, to New York City, to Memphis, Chicago. You name it, they can go and do Aspen. Think about it. The world is really their oyster. They can go spend as little as a week if they want to. 30 days is usually what we're seeing, and they can spend upwards of like 6-7 months in a place. And it's not only within the US, they can travel throughout the world. So it does really open up this opportunity, not only to the state of Florida, but everywhere in the entire world as well, which is actually really, really cool. Which leads us into how do we identify a market here in Florida that's actually great for midterm rentals? We're gonna make a lot of money. So contrary to what you probably are thinking, like, oh, we should pick somewhere where someone's gonna want a vacation. No, not necessarily. This isn't a vacation rental or short-term rental. This is a midterm rental. So what most people should look at when looking at a midterm rental and looking for specific markets, not only just here in Florida, but in general, is to look at a more urban area. An area where, think about it, it's a big city or it's near a big city, because you're going to have hospitals, you're going to have bustling area for traveling professionals, as well as people are going to want to go and experience that as traveling digital nomads. Obviously, the digital nomad route has some of those more secluded areas as well, but we're trying to fill all three buckets and get a piece of each one of those. With that being said, you do want to be within a rule of thumb that a lot of people have said is within 5 miles of 2 hospitals or with very nearby to a hospital complex. As you can see in Florida, any major city, you're going to be close to probably 3 to 5 hospitals within a 5-mile radius. So that does open you up to a lot of opportunities in your major cities. So you're thinking of things like, already off the top of your head, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa, Clearwater, or the Clearwater St. Pete area, Naples. So think of those areas, but you don't have to necessarily be in that area as well. You can be outside in the surrounding suburbs, cities, and towns as well, and still get pretty decent midterm rental income. With all that being said, you also have to kind of look at some of the medical systems and hospital systems that are out there. So when you start looking at what Florida has, obviously it comes into mind. You have Memorial, Baptist, Advent Health, HCA, Jackson Memorial, UF Health. So you also have Johns Hopkins and Tampa General. So those are just some of the different ones to think about, because you also want to pick up on that other bucket of the traveling medical professional. And one of those areas that really comes to mind looking at those different hospital systems is the Orlando market, and more specifically the Lake Nona area. So in Lake Nona, they do have the medical city aspect of it, and Lake Nona was booming and still is booming, but the prices have started to creep up. So between you and I, don't say anything, one of the next areas to kind of look at right near Lake Nona in that medical city area, and where Advent Health is building everything, is also called Sunbridge. So Sunbridge is more so a naturehood is what they're calling it, but it's right next to Lake Nona. You're right near downtown. You're also right near the airport. So you have a lot of different opportunities right there for midterm rentals. Plus you're gonna be able to get in at new construction pricing. That's just one of the areas that comes to mind. Another area that comes to mind that's kind of flying under the radar is Tallahassee. So a lot of people are like, whoa, Joe, Tallahassee? Think about it, hear me out. So, obviously you have the college there and people are going for athletics, but Tallahassee does have the hospitals there. So you're gonna get the traveling medical professionals, but your real niche when you're going for the Tallahassee market is the government officials. So people obviously have to go back and forth because Tallahassee is the capital for different meetings and things like that. So you're gonna be able to pick up on those traveling professionals as well. And obviously you don't want a congressperson or a representative trashing a place, so they're gonna take a little bit more care of it. That's just something that kind of flies under the radar. Another great market to think of is Gainesville. I know another college town, you're like, Joe, what is with you in the college towns? But Gainesville does have the UF health system there, and there are a lot of great hospitals as well as a lot of great travel opportunities. So if your niche is going to be more of that traveling medical professional, Gainesville is definitely one of the cities that you have to have on your radar. Okay, so now that you've picked out your city or your market that you're going to really focus on, what kind of properties should I be looking for? So with short-term rentals, it was the bigger the better. 6, 7, maybe even 12 or 20 bedrooms, and you're going to get a ton of money because I can put more beds or more heads on beds in those properties. While long-term rentals, it was a little bit different methodology, is more like location. Am I on the water? Am I near a lot of things? Am I going to get a good rent? And midterm rentals are neither one of those. So honestly, midterm rentals, you can kind of go with both. I mean, you can go a little bit, obviously not as big as 20 bedrooms, but there's a strategy for that one. But you're really looking at the 1 to 2 bedroom places, as well as maybe a 3 to 4 bedroom single family house or townhouse. So let's start off with the smaller end of the spectrum. So 1 to 2 bedrooms, honestly, it really works with condos, apartments, townhomes, single family homes, and multifamily. But you're really looking at, for 1 to 2 bedrooms, mostly condos, apartments, or multifamily. So within this, you're gonna get one traveling professional or traveling nomad or medical professional, or someone who's rooming with someone and they're bringing a roommate, they're traveling together. So with that aspect of it, you have a lot of flexibility, plus your overhead isn't huge. Right now, probably would stay away from condos with all the issues going on. You're gonna have the HOA plus the assessments, and if you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, I'm gonna link a video right here above about some of the issues that we're facing with condos. However, if you're in it for the long game, it might be a great move for you. Now kind of transitioning to some of the other aspects of it, let's talk about multifamily. A lot of duplex, triplex, and quadplexes are studios, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. So you can have, for example, you buy a quadplex, rent 2 of them long-term to have some solid, steady cash flow, and rent the other 2 midterm rental to bring in your extra cash flow and be making a ton more money. On top of that, if you're looking at the single family 3 or 4 bedroom or the townhouse that has 3 or 4 bedrooms, you have a couple options. You can have a traveling professional who wants to bring their family with them, or you can rent out the entire place by bedroom and do rent by bedroom, put individual locks on the doors, as well as have a couple bathrooms for everyone, and they kind of share the community kitchen and things like that. So it does give you a little bit of flexibility, but not to say that one property is better than the other. It just comes down to your strategy, your bucket of people or clientele that you're looking for, and how you're going to strategize yourself and position yourself to be the most successful. So now let's talk about short-term rentals versus mid-term rentals versus long-term rentals. So what is the big difference between them all? So let's start off with the amount of work. Obviously, short-term rentals are the most work because they have the most turnover. Mid-term rentals have less work than short-term rentals, but still more work than long-term rentals in terms of the turnover factor of it. Obviously, things break, you're dealing with tenants and things like that. You can't control any of that. We're just talking about in terms of the turnover aspect of it. The next thing is you have less regulations. So a lot of places in Florida are trying to get rid of short-term rentals. They just don't like it. They don't like the transient rentals. They don't like the constant partying. They don't like everything that's involved with it. So with midterm rentals, a lot of places will let you do a minimum of 30-day stays or even 6-month stays. So it kind of opens the door to a little bit more flexibility, which, talk about flexibility, you do get a lot more cash flow with midterm rentals. So let's think about it. With midterm rentals, a lot of people are looking to stay in a place for anywhere between 30 days to 90 days on average. So with that, they want to be a little bit more flexible. They want something that's furnished, and they don't want to get locked into a long-term lease. So they're willing to pay maybe a little bit more of a premium than that of a long-term lease, but they also don't want to do a short-term stay where it can get extremely pricey. So they're looking at these midterm rentals, and they're willing to pay a little bit of a premium, which in turn helps you in your cash flow opportunities. On top of that, you are dealing with more so professionals, especially if you're going towards that traveling professional and traveling medical professional buckets. I mean, they're going to take care of the place. I mean, obviously you run into bad apples no matter what, but they're there for a certain reason. They're not just going there to party and vacation. So it gives you a lot more peace of mind at the end of the day. So that's all about why midterm rentals are the best real estate investing strategy here, not only in 2023 in Florida, but also 2024 and beyond. So let me know in the comments down below, do you already invest in midterm rentals? And if so, what markets are you in, and where are you looking for another midterm rental? And if you're looking to invest in midterm rentals anywhere here in the state of Florida, or even just buy or sell real estate anywhere here in the state of Florida, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can email me, joe@theveragroup.com, or you can call or text me, whatever is easiest for you. We got you.